to the Cabinet meeting. It's Thursday the 22nd of May 2025. So we'll start with the agenda. Apologies for absence. I think we've got apologies from Councillor Clark, who's otherwise engaged at County Hall this afternoon. No more apologies, thank you. Item 2, to approve as a correct record the minutes of the meeting held on the 19th of March 2025. Are there any amendments to those minutes? Can we agree those? Yep, thank you very much, that's agreed. Declarations of interest. Any declarations of interest on any items? No, thank you very much. So, forward plan, which is item 4. We just asked, thank you, we just asked to note those. Thank you very much. And then item 5 is the first of the reports, report of the Planning Policy Manager, murals guidance. Are you doing that one, Jo?
I am indeed.
Thank you.
The purpose of this report is to seek Cabinet approval to publish informal guidance relating to the provision of murals. In terms of the background, in December 2024, the Council approved the Ambition Arnold Visionary Master Plan report in order to serve as a framework.
Sorry, Jo, have you got your mic on? It's quite difficult to hear you.
I'll move a bit nearer.
Thank you.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Lovely. The purpose of the Arnold Master Plan is to serve as a framework for future projects and funding bids. The Council's committed to enhancing the visual appeal of the borough and promoting community engagement through public art and murals. And to provide clarity and guidance on murals, the Council has developed the informal guidance attached as Appendix A. And this responds to one of the key features of the Arnold Master Plan, which was to enhance public spaces. The informal guidance will apply across the borough, not just to Arnold Town Centre, and the work has been funded through the UK Shared Prosperity Grant Award. In terms of the content of the document itself, it notes that public art and murals can be cost-effective ways to transform public spaces and reinforce a sense of place and encourage community engagement within a town centre. Good quality, attractive public spaces play a key role in urban regeneration and attracting residential and commercial occupiers. So the informal guidance aims to provide clear and accessible guidance for property owners, artists and developers on considerations related to murals and covers key requirements for murals, guidance on appropriate themes, the need for planning permission and, importantly, the need to protect and retain existing murals. So in response, the Cabinet is asked to approve the murals guidance that's attached as Appendix A. Thank you.
For that. Any comments? Quick, David.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to welcome the guidance and the principle. I think public art can make a real difference, and particularly some of the areas where it may only be temporary, but it can make a big difference and make the area helpful. All we've got to do now is to attract Banksy here. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to make any comments? Catherine.
Just to say that I think when murals are done well, they can be a very cost-effective way of transforming the public spaces. And they also highlight our shared history and environment, and they enable us to celebrate where we live. And I think, you know, in a colourful and bright way, and they embed a sense of place and a sense of belonging. So I do welcome the guidance, and I do think it's important, you know, that we continue with murals that highlight our shared history. Thank you.
I think you're absolutely right. They can enhance a dismal space, can't they? And as you say, highlight the cultural aspects of a particular area. So, and I think somebody actually mentioned before the meeting that it does actually deter graffiti. Was it you, Viv, that said that? So it does have benefits all round, I think, and certainly the brightening up an area is good. Viv, you want to say?
Yeah, just to say that, I think that we've got some, lovely examples in the city of how sort of dismal spaces have been really developed, colourful, gives a sort of, a real vibrance to it. So I think it would do wonders for Arnold as well in terms of appropriate. How do you, I was just wondering, in terms of the guidance, how then after a period of time you decide you want to change the mural or you want the mural to come down. Is that in the guidance as well?
It doesn't particularly relate to the removal of guidance. It does refer to what is mural, what is graffiti. It's clear around that, but it doesn't specifically refer to the removal of a mural. I suppose one could be overpainted.
Yeah, because once it's up forever. If you wanted to change it. Okay, thank you.
I really welcome the guidance, thank you. But I wondered if we could, in looking at item 7, our shopfront supplementary planning document, think about suggesting and recommending a good mural on all of those pull-down shutters for our centres. It really would brighten the place up instead of that grey mass of shutter that we have in most places. Thank you.
It's something perhaps to pick up through the shopfront SPD, but I think generally the feeling around shutters is that they should be sort of blending into the background. So what you're noticing are the more attractive buildings. I know sort of in some locations where you have hoardings around derelict sites, you would have murals on those hoardings, but perhaps we would want shutters to be sort of discreet and unobtrusive.
To approve the murals guidance appended to the report. Thank you very much. Right, item 6, adoption of the revised local requirements list for planning applications. Are you doing that, John? Thank you.
Thank you. The purpose of the report is to seek approval to adopt the revised local requirements list. So in terms of background, the Council determine approximately 700 planning and related applications each year. Following approval by Cabinet in February of 2023, the Council currently validate applications in accordance with both the adopted local requirements list and with the national validation requirements which are set out within legislation.
Sorry, John, could you just lean into the mic?
Apologies.
I don't know what's the matter. It's not picking up terribly well.
I'll speak up a little and speak into the microphone the best I can. The guidance recommends that local requirements lists are reviewed every 2 years. So the document, as adopted, has been reviewed and updated to ensure that planning application validation requirements reflect current changes in planning policy as detailed within the report, which are the government introducing a statutory requirement from February 2024 to deliver at least a 10% increase in biodiversity value on site during development. The document's therefore been updated with detailed information regarding the biodiversity net gain information requirement, which would need to be submitted in support of any planning application. Furthermore, the Council adopted the Design Code framework in November of 2024, which sets out requirements for high-quality design for new residential development. The revised local validation list sets out a requirement for applicants to submit a Design Code checklist, which sets out how their application complies with the requirements of the design principles set out within the adopted framework. In terms of consultation, public consultation has been undertaken, which included a targeted consultation of statutory consultees along with a number of agents who regularly submit planning applications to the council. The amended local requirements list attached as Appendix 1 has been slightly revised in order to address the comments received during this consultation period. It is therefore recommended that the council adopts the revised local requirements list in accordance with the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any comments, David?
Thank you, Chair. There's obviously a balance to be struck here between being transparent and clear to developers what we're looking for and to help them with their plans, and being overly bureaucratic and causing delays. So I suppose I was a bit disappointed there was only one response in the consultation from a developer. And could I just ask John, has there been any feedback from other from agents or the developers forum that would give us comfort that we've got the balance right?
But there hasn't really, in all honesty. Obviously, the consultation summary, which is appended to the report, sets out the consultation responses that we did receive. Generally, local validation lists are fairly well received by developers because it does set out a fairly comprehensive framework of the documents that we expect to be submitted with a planning application. So it prevents the back and forth of a negotiation that takes place prior to an application being validated. When a developer submits an application, they'd like it to be validated in a timely fashion to prevent delay. And obviously, if we set out our list of requirements comprehensively, it does prevent that delay for them, and it gives them the surety that the application they're submitting is complete.
Thanks for the work, welcome, absolutely welcome it, particularly around the biodiversity in terms of increasing that, and anything that that says that we've got to have quality design in the borough, gets a big tick from me when you look at some of the hideous new developments when you go travelling around the country. We need to continue to make our borough look attractive, and developers need to, work a bit harder on that. So I welcome this. Thank you.
I'm not sure I want to make this comment, thank you, Chair, but as part of his comment, I'm assuming it was a he, from the developer, about what's happening in other authorities, we've responded, officers of Gedling Borough Council will not ask for information to support a planning application. That sounds like we're not going to continue the very good practice of being as helpful as possible. Is that true? I hope it's not.
I think what the comment should read, I think there's a word missing there. I think it's unnecessary information.
Thank you.
Apologies. We can do, yeah. We'll, of course, we continue to work proactively and positively with developers. We want to maintain those strong relationships and be an authority that's good to do business with.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to hear that.
Thank you. I think the additions and revisions are on matters that developers will be aware of before they were added into the list, so it won't be a surprise. That might be why there is little comment, because they will expect it to be in that list anyway. And I think John's right, we do have a good relationship with our developers, and they do tend to get forward notice of anything that might be coming their way anyway. So, but thank you for that work. That's an excellent piece of work. So thank you very much. So it's recommended that the revised local requirements list for planning-related applications be adopted. 2, to authorise the Assistant Director of Development to publish the document. And 3, to delegate authority to John Crawsick, Assistant Director, to make any minor typographical, formatting or factual amendments to the local requirements list for planning-related applications. I move that if that's accepted. Thank you very much. Right. So, agenda item 7 is the shopfront supplementary planning document. Is that you, Jo?
It is, thank
Thank you.
you. Yes, another report from Planning Policy to seek Cabinet approval to publish the shopfront supplementary planning document. The purpose of the document is to set out the Council's policy in relation to the design principle of shopfronts, and the draft document is attached at Appendix 1. An early document was subject to formal public consultation early this year, and a consultation setting out the comments received, or the process by which consultation was undertaken, is attached as Appendix 2. We received comments from 8 respondents, a wide range of different bodies, and these are summarised in the report of responses, which is attached at Appendix 2. The key comments were from Historic England, who strongly supported the document, and other comments received were all neutral or positive. The document notes that shopfronts tend to incorporate the same basic design elements despite a diverse range of architectural styles. So the supplementary planning document sets out a series of design principles to ensure that shopfronts aren't designed in isolation from the architectural composition and style of the building. And the document is supported by a series of illustrations to clarify the intention of the principles. In general, the document is requiring that original traditional details aren't covered up or altered, and where possible, those can be exposed and repaired. And in circumstances where shopfronts have no architectural merit or historic interest, then it's encouraged that replacements can provide an opportunity for high quality to design to enhance the building and wider area. In terms of its scope, the supplementary planning document also covers the installation of canopies and blinds, security shutters, advertisements and signage, each of which can also have a significant impact on the streetscape. Once adopted, the supplementary planning document will be used in conjunction with other planning policy to help determine planning applications. So in terms of the recommendations, Cabinet is asked to adopt the shopfront supplementary planning document and request that authorities delegated to the planning policy manager to make any minor typographical amendments that might be needed. Thank you.
Linda, you've got a comment.
Yes, I think this is a great piece of work. Thank you very much. And particularly easy to read and laid out even for me to understand. So I welcome it, looking at some of the shopfronts we have locally and within the borough. Certainly the advertising, it's spoiling some of our most historic buildings. So I really think this is a great piece of work. Thank you very much, big team.
Viv.
I absolutely love this document, and I love the artwork in terms of the document. It's just, you know, I absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's hideous, some of the high streets that are spoilt with these big neo signs. I just think this is absolutely wonderful, and I think it would make a big difference to the borough, actually, so totally support it.
No, thanks for the work. It's a great document, and hopefully we can get back to using appropriate materials in buildings of particular interest instead of UPVC replacing everything else. So, and you're right about advertising signs; they can be absolutely horrific. So another great SPD. Thanks very much for the work. Right, it's recommended that Cabinet adopts the shopfront supplementary planning document, delegates authority to the planning policy manager to make minor typographical, formatting or factual amendments to the shopfront supplementary planning document. So I'll move that, if that's agreed. Excellent, thank you very much indeed. So we'll move on to item 8, which is the UK SPF activity update. That's the UK Shared Prosperity Fund for anybody watching. Thank you. Nathan.
Thank you, Deputy Leader. So I'm delighted to be here today to discuss an activity update for Gedling Borough Council's plans and projects associated with the extension of UK SPF Shared Prosperity Fund going into year 4. It is recommended today that Cabinet approves expenditure of the established capital and revenue budget on projects that we've identified and shared within Appendix 2 of today's item pack. In April 2022, the former government launched a 3-year funding programme of £2.6 billion called the UK SPF Shared Prosperity Fund. Gedling was awarded an allocation of £2.86 million split between capital and revenue funding as part of an initial 3-year award. As part of the government's autumn budget, an announcement was made that a further £900 million would be shared for UK SPF funding as part of a local investment. The programme extension will support government's ambitious plans for change and focus on ambitious, measurable long-term objectives that will provide a sense of purpose for the country. The 2025-26 extension provides support for existing interventions that have been mapped into mission-led themes as with the original programme. Communities in place, support for local businesses and people and skills. Allocations for Gedling were ratified by MCA Board on February the 10th earlier this year, with Gedling being set to receive 1.172 million split across capital and revenue. Lead local authorities have been required to submit an update on project and spend activity for the extended period throughout the submission of a forecast to MCA, which we successfully submitted in April earlier this year. To identify suitable projects for the forecast, service areas were invited to submit UK SPF project proposals in the lead up to April 2025 as part of the submission. Where appropriate, officers were invited to work collaboratively with key stakeholders to identify potential proposals. These proposals were reviewed and assessed by our senior leadership team, having regard to the mission-led themes across each of the priority areas. A list of proposed projects and their values have been included in Appendix 2 for your review. I'm delighted to say that we were able to put together a qualitative list of proposals which would support capital projects such as Colic Recreation Ground, car park resurfacing and drainage, installing feeder pillars across our local centres to support events such as the Christmas light switch-ons. We've been able to propose a new borough signage project which will improve our boundary signage, supporting visitor economy, and then other areas across the borough as well, such as community centres. We've also begun to develop a borough safety anti-terrorism measure project where we will look to improve safety and security across our town and local centres. We've also been able to put a fantastic revenue package together which includes a digital inclusion network which will identify hubs and gateways for digital training support for not only residents but also providers and businesses across the borough. We are looking to continue with a very successful advice and guidance support package for our economically inactive residents across the borough. We are also looking to extend our successful business grants programme, which we offered as part of the original UK SPF, and offer another £100,000 worth of business grant support to our businesses in our town, local centres, and across the whole of the borough. We are also looking to provide further training with entry-level basic digital and ESOL skills support for our residents to improving the people and skills element of the programme. So with that, I would hope to be able to gain approval from Cabinet that we can expend the established capital and revenue budget on the projects identified in Appendix 2. Thank you.
Thanks, Nathan, and thank you to you and the team for the work you've put in and producing this so that we're actually ready to go. I think we've built up some really good relationships with our partner organisations, and there's clear enthusiasm for carrying on and expanding some of the programmes that have been successful in the last round of funding. So I look forward to measuring the progress, and certainly the business grants, I think, have proved extremely popular and successful, and it was just wonderful to see the level of entrepreneurship in the borough, and people starting from nothing and having really good ideas and plans, and being able to support that is just great. So makes Gedling so good.
Yes, I'd also like to, there's a lot of work that's gone into this actually, and I'm really very supportive of all that's been proposed, and we wish that it will all move forward. I'm particularly keen to see the Colic rec car park surfacing. I mean, it's an area that I know that residents of Colic really welcome, but it's such a well-used car park. With park runners, with the football team, Uppity football teams, and the car park is really ready for improvement. So I know that will go down really well. And it's good to see also, thinking again, we can see a decline in toilets across the country, so it's great. We've got a proposal for a changing places toilet at Carlton, which again will be a very inclusive place for people, so ensuring that people can get out and about and not worrying about, where can I go to the toilet. I'm really welcome that. And it's interesting, the signage, because actually we recently did a sponsored bike ride from Gedling to Skegness, and one of the things I wanted to try and find was a sign that said Gedling, and actually you realise when you're out and about there isn't any signs that say actually welcome to Gedling. So actually I think that's going to be that's again to be proud of where we're living and to tell people that you're now in Gedling. So I really welcome that. But I mean, all the proposals are very positive, and I fully support it. Thank you.
Yes, I welcome all the proposals. Obviously, a lot of work has gone into this, and so I thank officers and SLT and everyone that's contributed. Particularly pleased to see measures around addressing the cost of living, and also skills and employment for young people, as well as sort of highlighting arts and culture and heritage that we've said already, because it does embed a sense of place and belonging. And we've only to look at the UK SPF celebration event that we held at the Richard Herod Centre to see how much added value this money produces. Obviously, Councillor McCrossan and I attended an event where the park at Carlton Hill was revamped for the people suffering from visual disabilities. So it is immeasurable, and it is life-changing in some cases, especially when you look at employment and skills, and making our parks and places like that accessible. So it's a great piece of work. So fully support it.
Thanks, Chair. I just wanted to echo the comments about the celebration event that we had a few months or so ago, was it? It just showed what a relatively small amount of money what difference a relatively small amount of money can make. And I think this is continuing that practice, so I'm happy to support these proposals. Thank you.
Thank you very much for all those positive comments. Yes, I think you're right about the celebration event. And so many of these things will have a long-term sustainable impact on people's lives and their environment. So, yeah, thank you for the work, Nathan. So, we're asked to approve the expenditure of the established capital and revenue budget on the projects identified at Appendix 2. Move that. Is that agreed? That's agreed. Thank you very much. Right. Oh, this is quite a hefty one, this one. So, item 9, the annual Equality, Diversity and Inclusion update. Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So this report is the annual update to Cabinet on the work undertaken across the Council in 2024-25 in relation to equality, diversity and inclusion, which I will refer to as EDI for short, because it's a bit of a mouthful to keep repeating it. So as part of service planning for 24-25, it was agreed that an EDI action plan would be developed and 20 actions were agreed. Supporting EDI work across the Council, we have a number of groups. The Strategic Equality and Diversity Group is a cross-party member and officer group chaired by the portfolio holder for Life Chances and Vulnerability. This group drives and monitors performance on the action plan, as well as reviewing hate crime figures and their impact in the borough, reviewing equality-related complaints, contributing to communications and event planning, and this year providing support to me in the internal audit of EDI, which was undertaken by BDO, our internal auditors. We did have an equality officer group in 24-25, but following structure changes and changes in governance processes, this group was disbanded, and performance on EDI objectives is now tracked through our corporate budget and performance board. We also have our Gedling Inclusion Group, known as GIGS, which is an officer-led group made up of representatives from across all the service areas of the council who look at predominantly inclusion within the workplace. Against our specific action plan, as I say, we had 20 actions agreed for 24-25. 11 of those actions have been completed, 8 have commenced, some well on the way to completion, and 1 did not commence. The outstanding action that didn't commence was to ensure that EDI was considered as part of the development of a funding strategy. This strategy wasn't developed in 24-25, but is in the action plan for 25-26. The other 8 actions which have already commenced will also carry on into 25-26 and are largely linked to the wider transformation work that's going on across the council, which has started but will carry on into subsequent years. In terms of training, we continue to offer online and face-to-face training to staff on EDI, but as identified through the audit process, more bespoke training will be offered in 25-26 to officers, managers and members, particularly around workplace behaviours, what's banter, what's not banter, and how the workforce can be perceived both between each other and to the wider community that we serve. In terms of our internal audit, which I've referenced and which is attached to the report, it was a positive experience and a positive outcome in terms of the audit report that was produced. It's not your normal audit recommendation where they give us a sort of standard. They assessed us against their BDO EDI maturity framework, which is actually a different framework to the one that the council itself assesses against, which is the Local Government Association Equality and Diversity Framework. However, as I say, the outcome was largely positive. There were a number of actions proposed from that audit. They're not, again, actions in the usual sense where we have to accept them. They're more kind of guidance notes and actions which we may want to adopt. We have looked at those and there are some that we are adopting and they're forming part of the action plan for next year, or this year now. Outside the action plan, as listed in the report at paragraph 1.11, there have been a number of events and initiatives which support the EDI agenda, including our Arnold Summer Fair last year, which was a huge celebration of inclusivity held within the park, and also the World Peace Day at Gedling Country Park, which brought together a number of different faiths. Finally, in 24-25, our Gedling Inclusion Group, GIGS, undertook a staff survey on inclusivity, which provoked quite a strong response from staff, that survey. Recommendations in relation to that were brought to our senior leadership team for approval and have been agreed, and they also form part of the action plan for 25-26. Recommendations in particular were around developing a communications plan for staff, again, so they can understand a little bit more about EDI, what that means in the workplace, how to treat each other and how to behave in an inclusive way. So lots of positives, lots of work undertaken, both on the action plan and more widely across the organisation. I'd like to thank all the officers and members involved in this. We don't have a dedicated resource to deliver EDI within the council. It's all done as part of the day job, which to a degree it should be, but it's part of wider work initiatives across the organisation. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Fran, and another great piece of work. So thank you to you, all the staff and everybody else that has really come together to make this document a living document, really. And thank you to the portfolio holder for leading some of the work. And it's great to see the number of events that went on across the borough, because it doesn't just apply to this building, it applies to everybody that lives in Gedling Borough. And we do take that obligation seriously in Gedling, because it's not only a statutory requirement, it's actually a moral imperative that we make sure we are inclusive in everything we do. So thank you. Catherine, you wanted to make a comment?
Thank you, Fran, for summarising the report and the work done within the last year. You know, over the time that I've been on the council, I've seen a change, I've mentioned it before, more away from a sort of legalistic viewpoint on equalities to something that's sort of living and breathing, with actions that actually do make a difference and will make a difference to our residents as well. Also, I'm grateful for the the gigs group that Councillor McCrossan and I worked on originally, didn't we? The creation of that. So thank you to the staff that attend that, and thank you for their views that they've put forward within the survey that have been agreed at SLT. Also the BDO audit recommendations that we've will form part of 25-26 actions. And, you know, you've mentioned some of the achievements which make a real difference. Again, I keep talking about this sort of inclusivity, making people feel that they're part of somewhere. And, you know, just to mention Black History Month, the work that we did there on Digging Deep with Norma Gregory, the Windrush, Skin and Coal film, which will be shown in June this year, actually. The Sensory Garden, the Standing in This Place statue, which I've spoken about on numerous occasions. Basically, these are events that bring people together from all different cultural backgrounds, and I just think in this day and age, we need to bring those events to life, and anything that brings people together from different backgrounds is a good thing. So thank you for those, everyone that's worked on those achievements. Obviously, there are people and members and staff involved in the Strategic Equality and Diversity Group. So I'd like to thank the cross-party members, the councillors that have attended that, and officers. I also intend to work with the newly appointed mayor, and his theme for this year will be inclusivity. So there's lots of work that we'll be doing together. So thank you, and thank you for all the work done.
Thanks very much, Catherine. Anybody else? Henry, you've got indicated. David, yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I welcome the report. I think it's absolutely brilliant. The amount of work that's gone into this is phenomenal. I think it's more important than ever, given the current political climate, that this council is committed to equalities, inclusion and diversity. Really, really important. There are some people in this country at the moment who are arguing that equalities and diversity doesn't matter. Well, it does. Actually, it does. It has a massive impact on the health and well-being of our residents. It has a massive impact on the way we do things at this council. And for me, if that means I'm woke, or anybody, if I get called woke, you know, quite frankly, I don't care, because being woke actually means we care. We care about the community that we're working for. We care about everybody, all those people that we represent out there. So this work is absolutely key to ensuring that we have a very inclusive council. Thank you.
Henry? David?
Thank you, Chair. I welcome the report, and it's interesting the Deputy Chief Executive mentioned the one particular strand of educating people on what DEI means, and very much as Henry has said, you know, it shouldn't need saying, but we've had so many far-right groups challenging the whole concept of DEI, deliberately misunderstanding. You know, we've got Trump in America with an all-out attack on equalities, and we've got that dripping into this country in Reform UK with a good smattering of misogyny and racism in that. So it does need repeating that it's a statutory responsibility for us to promote equality. It's important to ensure that our services meet the needs and expectations of the different communities, as well as being fair. I mean, but I would pick out a couple of comments. Again, very much like Henry, I was pleased to see the work that's going on health inequalities, which is tackling health inequalities, which is basically a class and geographical failing, which we need to address. I also noticed the BDO report. They talked about we need to sharpen up some of our target setting, or make the targets and the objectives smart and measures smarter. I think that is something that we could well do with. But overall, I welcome the report. It's something we're required to do, and it's something we want to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I think the comments just show the commitment. Oh, beg your pardon, Viv, I'll let you say first.
It's only to echo clearly what we've all said here. I mean, I started out with Catherine in terms of how we were going to improve and update what we were doing around inclusion and equalities within the borough, and it's just really to see it grow and grow like it's done and be part and parcel. Like you say, it's not about one person's job. It's not a department's job. It's across. It's all inclusion and equality. It's about what we do day to day, and it's taking it away from the bookshelf and putting it out so actually people understand it. I was really pleased that the Mayor last night said that in his opening speech, that that's going to be one of his key focuses and priority around inclusion. And I put my hands in when you read some of the stuff that's coming out of the county in terms of the new reform councillors there about what their understanding of equality and diversity is just shocking. So from the perspective of the borough, we should be a caring, respectful, engaging. We should be supporting all of our residents, and it should be something that we just do, that we know and we understand. So anything you're doing here is just, excellent. And so well done. Well done to everybody.
Thanks very much, and I'm sure those comments will only serve to prove how committed we are. And you're quite right, Viv, it should be part of everything we do every day, like breathing in, breathing out. It should be one of those things that we take for granted that we do and do well. So, I've lost the piece now. What have I done with it? It's just to note. It's just to note the report and thank everybody for the work that's been done. It's a great piece of work. So I'm going to move that. Can we agree? Thank you very much indeed. And item 10 is any other items the Chair considered urgent, and I've not had anything notified to me. So with that, I'll thank you all for coming and close the meeting. Thank you.